Hello, Dr. Johanli and classmates. Today, our Group 5 will present our practical research at Circle K in Vietnam, focusing on issues related to human resources management and organizational behavior. First, let me introduce the members of our group. We have 5 members: Ngọc Đỗ, Trâm Lê, Nguyễn Linh, Cường Trương và Bách Phạm. So before we get into the main content, we would like to briefly present the main point of the report. There will be 9 parts in total, and now we will begin with the first one, introduction. Okay. Circle K is one of the largest international convenience store chains, particularly active in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. Circle K is open 24/7, serving the quick and convenient needs of the many different customer groups, from students, official worker, shift worker to residents. Thanks to its continuous operation day and night, Circle K plays an important role in the modern retail system, meeting essential needs such as food, beverage, fast-moving consumer goods, and payment service. However, through direct surveys and interview with former employees, the research team found that despite Sokai's strong brand and professional operating system, several significant challenges related to organizational behavior still exist. This significantly impact employee performance and customer experience. Okay, so to better understanding these issues, let's move on to the natural problems. Okay, I will present the natural of the problem Sukuke is facing, focusing on the 3 main aspects: employee turnover and lack of engagements, work environment and management style, and finally, employee training process. Okay, with the first one, regarding employee turnover and lack of engagement, through direct interview with part-time employee and observation of store operation at various times, the team found that Circle K is experiencing a serious human resources problem. Many employees said that they only uh, work it for 1 to 3 months before quitting because they felt the job was too stressful. The income wasn't enough to cover expenses, and they didn't see the long-term career development opportunity. As the results, store had to constantly recruit, interview, and train new employee. One store management said that on average, they have to change at least 2 to 3 new employees each month to replace those who leave. This not only increase personnel costs, but also burden excess employee who have to balance they daily tasks with training new staff. Um, Furthermore, staff shortage are quite common, especially during peak evening or weekend hours. They only 2 employee can handle all the work. At this time, the remaining employee had to work at a high intensities, performing multiple tasks such as cashiers, um, beverage presentation, preparation, stocking, self-check experience, expiration desk, and assisting customer. Uh, per, Prolonged pressure leads to fatigue, stress, difficulty concentrating, which in turn lead to errors and reduce motivation. This can be considered a vicious cycle. Next, the work environment and management style. To discuss with the employee, the research team found that in many cases, employees rarely receive recognition or encouragement from management, even when performing well. Mm, you know, meanwhile, minor mistakes are often immediately reprimanded, sometimes with a tense attitude. This makes employees feel that their efforts are not appreciated, reducing their satisfaction and motivation. Okay, so the final issues. um, Regarding employee training process, sometimes some stores still have limitation in training new employees. New employees only receive basic instructions for the uh, first day or the second days, mainly observation college and practice on their own, lacking standardized material or detailed instructions. In complex situations such as handling customer complaints or defective product, employees often struggle due to a lack of a formal training. Furthermore, when employee makes mistake, instead of this receiving explanations and guidance on how to correct them, they are often reprimanded or subjected to psychological pressure. This makes employee feel insecure and anxious every time they come to work, resulting in an effective training system in the eventually become a factor in employee turnover. Okay, so in the next part, Chum will analyze the cause to better understand why this problem arise.
Okay, thanks, Ngọc. So, based on the previous analysis, we found that high employee turnover and low engagement among part-time worker at Circle K are not separate problems. So, we believe these problems are closely connected and have become long-term issue in the companies. Together, they create a work environment where employees do want to stay or feel committed. So, from an organization behaviors perspective, we identify several main causes, including low motivation, unfair treatment, ineffective leadership, poor training, heavy workload, and a weak sense of belonging. So, first, I will talk about low work motivation. So we found that work motivation strongly affect employee performance and turnover. According to her best two-factor theory, salary and working conditions only have prevents dissatisfaction, while real motivations comes from recognition, achievement, and growth opportunities. So, however, at Circle K, we observe that our part-time employees rarely receive recognition or helpful feedback. Their tasks are perfective. They have a little control over the work, and they face contents pre-sale. And this make them feel that the companies is only potentially or not meaningful. So in addition, I think based on Maslow hierarchies of needs, we believe many part-time employees are still trying to meet basic needs such as job security and stable status and mental comfort. They when the needs are not met, higher motivation and commitment cannot develop. Beside motivation, families is other important factor. So we found that employee turnover is strongly influenced by pers- perceived unfairness. According to Adam equality theory, employees compare their efforts with the reward they receive. At Circle K, we hear that many part-time workers takes extra shift, do many tasks at the same time, and accept certain stature change without proper recognition or compensation. This situation creates feeling or unfair treatment and reduce trust in management. So, moreover, we observe that some stores use a strict and controlling leadership style. This style of leadership may work in the short term, but but in the run, maybe the long run is reduce employee in engagement and increase stress. So finally, we will discuss training, workload, and organization culture. Um, we found that training and onboarding or for part-time employees at Circle K are often short and informal. The employee usually learn by themselves and feel confused when they make mistakes. Instead of receiving clear guidance, they are often maybe scolded, which cause fears and low confidence. This leads some employees to leave the job very early. So in addition, we believe that a heavy workload during busy hour cause, cause stress and burnout. So finally, the organization culture do not have part-time employee feel value. So many of them feel maybe easily acceptable rather than the part of the companies. As a result, motivation and loyalty decrease while turnover increase. So next part, I will invite Link next.
To reduce employee turnover and improve motivation among part-time workers at Circle K, the company should apply basic organizational behavior concepts. First, based on the Herzberg theory, Circle K shouldn't only provide good working conditions, but also motivate employee through recognition, reward, and positive feedback. Giving employee meaningful tasks can help them feel more interest in their work. According to Maslow theory, stable working hour, a friendly working environment, and respectful treatment help employees feel safe and comfortable at work. In addition, fairness at work is really important. Based on equity theory, Socrates should clearly explain how shift and workloads are assigned. Uh, Employees who work extra hours or handle heavy workload should be recognized or rewarded fairly. Leadership also plays a key role. Store managers should use supportive and flexible leadership style, especially when working with new employees. When employees feel care or any respect, they are more likely to stay with the company. And next, moreover, better training and guidance for new staff can reduce stress and mistake. Managers should guide employees instead of scolding them. And finally, creating a positive work culture where part-time employees feel respect and include will increase their sense of belonging and reduce turnover. And now we are moving to the next part.
So, after identifying the relevant organizational behavior theory applicable to the Circle K case, this section will outline the specific action to solve the problem is high over and low motivation among the part-time employee and employee at the Circle K. So the issues are systemic and relate to the motivation, fairness, leadership, training, job design, and organizational culture. So the actions are structured across the short term, medium term, and long term to ensure the coordination and sustainability. So in the short term, within the 0 to 3 months, the Circle K should prioritize the action with high impact and low cost. So the first focus is on the redesign the motivation and reward system. Management should shift from the complaint-based control to motivation-driven approach. At the store level, the low-cost recognition such as a verbal appreciation, simple award, and written feedback linked to clear behavior, including the service quality, the teamwork, accuracy, and attendance, can strengthen the intrinsic motivation. So to limit the performance-based incentive such as the small bonus, voucher, or preferred shift can reinforce the effort reward relationship. Publishing the schedule earlier can ensuring the minimum weekly working hour and reducing the last minute change have created a basic work stability. So at the same time, Circle K can establish the fair and transparent work allocation system, standardize the rule of shift allocation, overtime, and peak hour to staffing across the store can reduce the favoritism and create trust. So clear guideline on the compensation or recognition for extra work have to maintain the fairness. The simple feedback channel, such as the short survey or regular supervisor check-in, allow the employee to voice the concern and strengthen the procedural justice. And in the medium term, the focus should move to the leadership development and training standardization. Leadership behavior strongly influence employee attitude, so case should provide leadership training for store management and supervisor, focusing on transformation leadership, situational leadership, constructive feedback, emotional intelligence, and conflict management. So the manager should adjust their approach based on the employee experience. Leadership performance should be evaluated using turnover rate, absenteeism, and employee feedback to reinforce the accountability. To standardizing the training and onboarding process is essential to reducing the early turnover. A consistent program covering job role, company value, and the service standard and operating the SCAD procedure supported by clear guideline and visual material. By clear material should be implemented. A buddy or a mentoring system can support the learning, psychological safety, and early social integration. Managers should treat mistake as a learning opportunity to build the confidence and supporting the long-term retention. And in the long term, beyond the 12 months, Circle K should implement the strategic change in job design and organizational culture. Job design and workload management are necessary to prevent the burnout, especially during peak period by increasingly task variety, autonomy, and feedback while controlling the workload. Task rotation and demand-based staffing can reduce the fatigue and improve the service quality. Long-term retention depends on the positive organization culture, promoting the respect, inclusion and open communication, and treating part-time employee as value contributor is essential. So employee involvement, idea sharing, and simple team activity can be strengthened the belonging and commitment. So the next part is about the challenge and obstacle in the implementation. While the proposed action are theoretically grounded and practically feasible, their implementation is not without the difficult. This section critically acknowledges the key challenge and obstacle Circle K may face when applying their organizational behavior-based solution in a real operational context. So the first is about the cost constraint. The cost constraint can limit the spending on training, the leadership development, staffing. Management may prioritize the short-term cost control over the long-term value, focusing on low cost, high impact, such as the recognition feedback, the standardized onboarding, and transparent scheduling can reduce the pressure, budget of remain. So the managerial resistance to change is another challenge. Some managers may resist the moving away from transactional style and view training as an added workload. Strong top management commitment, clear the expectation, and linking managerial performance to retention outcome are required. The third is about the high turnover. This high turnover is inherent in part-time retail work since many employees view their role as temporary. So K should focus on reducing avoidable turnover caused by poor management and unfair practice rather than eliminating the turnover. Inconsistent implementation across the store also creates the difficulty, variation in store condition and management capability weaken standardization and perception of fairness. Clear guidelines and centralized monitoring and regular oversight are needed. The time pressure and operational demand limit the manager ability to provide the coaching, the mentoring, and feedback. Addressing this issue requires integrating employee management and into the daily routine and recognizing its strategy important and reducing the turnover. And finally, is the culture and behavior in a area. This can slow the adoption of new practice. Existing norm and habit may create resistance among both the manager and employee. Sustained change depend on continuously reinforcement, visible leadership commitment, and embedding the organization behavior principle into the performance management system. So my part end here, and now Cường will present the next part.
Okay, so next I will present about possible consequences. As Circle K Vietnam, the goal of improving communication, teamwork, and employee motivation is positive and necessary. However, when these changes are implemented, there may be some unintended consequences. First, in increasing communication and feedback can reduce efficiencies in the short term. Convenience stores operate in a very fast-paced environment, especially during peak hours. If managers receive too much feedback or have to engage in constant discussion, it can slow down decision making and daily operations. According to organizational behavior theory, too much communication without a clear structure can lead to information overload, making it harder for managers and employees to perform effectively. Second, there is a risk related to emotional labor and burnout. Employees may feel pressures to speak up even when they are uncomfortable, while store managers must manage emotions, listen empathically, and show interpersonal problems while keeping the store running smoothly. Research shows that prolonged emotional labor in customer-facing roles significantly increase emotional exhaustion and burnout. This is especially relevant for store managers at SOK Vietnam who interact with both customer and employees every day. Another unintended consequence involves fairness and role clarity. Differences in store workload may lead employees to feel that reward and recognition are not distributed fairly. At the same time, increased empowerment and open communication may create role ambiguity if responsibilities and authority are not clearly defined. These factors can reduce job certification and organizational commitment if not managed carefully. Next, about communicating findings and reducing resistance. Because of these potential risks, how Circle K Vietnam communicates its findings and recommendation is extremely important. First, communication should be simple and practical. Instead of using abstract OB concepts, managers should explain changes using real store level examples. For example, they can show how how clearer communication during shifts handovers reduce mistake or helps the team handle busy hours more smoothly. When employees see direct benefits in their daily work, they are more likely to accept change. Second, communication should focus on improvement rather than criticism. Employees are more willing to support change when they believe the goal is to reduce stress, clarify roles, and make work easier, not to point out mistakes. From a burnout perspective, clearly explaining how changes have managed workload and emotional pressure is essential. In involving key stakeholders is also critical. Store managers are, experienced employees should be part of the discussion, not just receiver of information. When people feel listened to, they develop a sense of ownership, which reduce resistance and build trust within the organization. And finally, communication should not be a one-time activity. Continuous communication and support are necessary for long-term success. Regular updates and feedback loops allow management to monitor employee well-being and address issues early. Ongoing communication also send a strong signal that the organization cares about its employee. Research shows that perceived organizational support plays an important role in reducing burnout and helping employees cope with change. In conclusion, while improving communication, teamwork, and motivation can benefit Circle Vietnam, the, the organization must carefully manage unintended consequences. Clear, supportive, and continuous communication is key to reduce resistance, preventing burnout, and ensure that these trends lead to sustainable improvements in performance and employee well-being. This is our references, and thank you for listening.